480 BC. The Greek city-state of Sparta fields the most feared infantry force in the ancient world. 30,000 hoplites, every man trained from age 7, every formation drilled until it moves as one bronze wall. But what if, on a flat open plain in the Peloponnese, they walked into 200 men from a Tier 1 Special Operations Unit of the United States Navy? Same plane, no air support, no satellites, no reinforcements, one fight to the finish. The result is not the obvious one, and neither is the reason. The scenario is fixed. A 6-kilometer plain near Sparta, low scrub, no cover, no high ground, no rivers. The 200 operators are drawn from a Navy Special Warfare Development Group, full standard combat load, finite ammunition, no aircraft of any kind, no satellites of any kind, no resupply. The Spartans field their full peak strength under King Leonidas, equipped exactly as they were at Thermopylae 1 year later. Both forces begin 4 kilometers apart at first light. The engagement ends when one side is destroyed or breaks. There is no truce condition. There is no exfil for the Americans. Same plane, same garrison, no reset. 30,000 Spartans is not a metaphor. At peak, the city could field this number by mobilizing Spartiates, Perioikoi, and conscripted Helots under Spartiate command. Each Spartiate has trained inside the agog from the age of 7. He has lived in the barracks until 30. From age 7 through age 23, he has cooked, slept, marched, and fought alongside the same men. Discipline is enforced by hunger, by floggings, by a yearly rite called the Cryptia, in which young Spartans are sent into the countryside to kill Helots in the dark. He does not understand soldiering as a job. Soldiering is a state of being. His equipment is bronze and oak and iron. The Aspis shield is 90 centimeters across, faced in bronze, backed in wood, weighing about 7 kilograms. The dory spear runs 2.5 meters with a leaf-bladed iron tip. A bronze butt spike on the rear of the dory turns the weapon into a working spear, even when the head snaps off. The Xyphos short sword sits on his hip for the close press, 60 centimeters of straight double-edged iron. A Corinthian helmet covers his face down to the cheek. The cuirass over his torso is linen or bronze. Greaves cover his shins. From 30 meters, he is a moving wall of metal. His doctrine is the Phalanx. 8 ranks deep, shields overlapping, spears bristling, the formation pushes forward as a single body. In contact, it crushes. Retreat collapses it. But Spartan formations do not retreat. Under Spartan law, abandoning the line is punished by exile, atimia, and dishonor that follows a man's family for generations. A Spartan mother does not say, "Come home safe." She says, "With it or on it, with the shield, or carried on it." Leonidas commands. He is 57 years old. By trade, he has fought Persians, Argives, and Messenian rebels. Reading ground comes to him the way weather comes to a sailor. He does not know what is in front of him today. The first man to die will tell him. 200 Navy SEALs is also not a metaphor. They are drawn from a single unit averaging 12 years of operational experience and 8 combat deployments per man, selected from a pipeline that takes one applicant in 4 and discards the rest. Their median age is 33. They have fought in Ramadi, Marja, Mosul, and Sangin. Before reaching this unit, every operator has already passed BUDS, completed 3 years in a standard SEAL team, and survived 9 months of Green Team selection at Dam Neck. The senior chief in command has been in the Navy for 22 years. He has run direct action raids on 3 continents. His standing order today is one line: keep the line at distance. The primary rifle is the HK-416, suppressed, with a magnified optic effective to 600 meters. Each operator carries 7 30-round magazines and a backup pistol load. The squad automatic is the MK-48, a 7.62 belt-fed weapon firing at 500 rounds a minute, effective to 800 meters. Each platoon carries 3. The designated marksman runs the MK-13 Mod 7 in 300 Winchester Magnum, lethal past 1,000 meters. 6 men across the force carry the M107 Barrett, a 50 caliber rifle effective to 1,800 meters, firing a round that travels at 850 meters per second. Standoff support comes from Javelin missiles, 24 in total. Fire and forget top attack, 18 kilograms of warhead per missile. Engineers carry 30 M18 claymore mines, each loaded with 700 steel ball bearings packed in front of a C4 charge. 40 M67 fragmentation grenades go to every platoon. Every operator wears PVS-31 night vision and runs a FLIR thermal scope. 2 Black Hornet nanodrones per platoon provide a moving map of the battlefield out to 2 kilometers. One truth the SEAL chief understands before the fight begins. He has approximately 300,000 rounds of small arms ammunition and 24 missiles against 30,000 men who do not surrender. At 05:30, the American line goes to thermal. The Spartan column glows at 4.2 kilometers out, a rectangle of 30,000 bodies on the cold dawn plain. Black Hornets lift, fly forward, and confirm the count. The Phalanx is 4,000 men wide and 8 ranks deep. The rest of the mass waits in reserve behind a slight rise. Leonidas does not yet know what he is walking toward. The first round fired is a Javelin. Top attack profile against a soft target is overkill. The warhead detonates 10 meters above the center of the line. Pressure and fragments level a 40-meter circle. 60 Spartans die in 2 seconds. The Phalanx absorbs the gap and reforms. Then it keeps walking. A second Javelin goes out 40 seconds later. Another 40-meter hole opens in the bronze. Another patch of ground turns red. The remaining ranks step over the dead and continue forward at a steady 3 kilometers per hour. No man screams. No man stops. 24 Javelins, 30,000 Spartans. The math is already a problem. At 05:40, the Barretts open fire at 1,800 meters. A bronze aspis is 4 millimeters thick. The shield does not stop a 50 caliber round. Nothing about it slows the round or deflects it. The round passes through the shield, through the man, through the next rank, and sometimes through the third. 1 round, 3 corpses. The Spartan line ripples but does not stop. At 800 meters, the Mk-48 gunners open fire. Sustained rate, 100 rounds a minute per gun, 30 guns across the front. 3,000 rounds a minute pour into a packed bronze wall that cannot disperse without breaking formation, and Spartans do not break formation. This is the moment of inversion. The Phalanx, the formation that made Sparta unbeatable for 200 years, is the worst possible posture against automatic fire. It concentrates targets. Dispersion is forbidden. Standing still is rewarded. Every drill, every instinct, every law of Spartan war pushes the soldier toward the exact behavior that kills him fastest. By 06:15, the leading 800 men are dead. The Spartans have walked 500 meters closer. At 06:20, the operators reposition into a shallow arc. M203 and M320 grenade launchers begin arcing 40mm rounds into the rear ranks. Each round detonates with a 5-meter casualty radius. Across the front, 1 grenade leaves the line every 6 seconds. The rear ranks, who cannot see the SEAL position behind the men in front of them, take the worst of it. At 06:40, the claymores wake up. A forward team had walked them in the night before. 18 mines in a screen 600 meters in front of the SEAL position. They detonate in sequence as the Phalanx crosses them. Each claymore launches 700 steel balls at 1,200 meters per second into a 60-degree fan. 1 mine kills between 30 and 50 Spartans. The 18 kill almost 1,000 in 9 seconds. Here is where the experiment expects the Spartans to break. A Persian army at Thermopylae broke at a fraction of this casualty rate. So did the Argives at Sapia, the Athenians at Tanagra, almost every army that ever stood against this force in its own time. The Spartans do not break. Their line tightens and keeps walking. The dead at the front begin to form a second obstacle, a low wall of bodies the survivors have to climb over. By 0700, the dead, number 9,200. The march continues. Leonidas is still alive. From a small rise behind the main body, he reads the casualty pattern and changes the order. He sees what no Persian king ever saw. That frontal mass against the American line is a furnace. Closing the distance is the only option remaining. He gives it. The Phalanx splits into 3 columns of 7,000 each. Their march becomes a run. Open formation, spread frontage, helmets down. Spartans can charge in full armor for short bursts, and they will spend everything they have on this charge. The left column begins to swing wide, aiming for the SEAL flank. The SEAL chief recognizes the shape. He has seen it before in Afghanistan, when massed forces try to overwhelm a defended position by spreading wide, absorbing casualties, and betting that some fraction reaches contact. Until today, he had never seen it executed by 13,000 men in bronze who do not know fear. He pulls his flank platoon back 20 meters and re-anchors the line on its claymore screen. The second belt of mines kept in reserve for exactly this. The Mk-48 barrels are glowing red. Sustained fire has cooked 2 of them past failure. Operators rotate to spares. The Barretts have slowed to deliberate single shots. Recoil and heat make sustained 50 caliber fire impossible for one gunner. Each SEAL has now fired roughly 240 of his 210 rifle rounds, eating into pistol and pack reserves. Resupply is not coming. At 400 meters, the Spartans go silent. They had been chanting earlier, the Doric paean, the war hymn the Greeks wrote songs about. The chanting stops. Breath is being conserved for the sprint. The American line is now engaging men closing at 18 kilometers per hour. Every operator is on his rifle. Inside 300 meters, hit rate climbs above 80%. Across 40 seconds of sprint, the SEAL force kills approximately 4,000 more men. The second claymore belt detonates at 150 meters and adds another 800. At 50 meters, the leading Spartans throw their dories. A 2.5-meter iron-tipped spear hits with bone-breaking force even from an exhausted thrower. 2 operators are wounded. One spear, thrown at a high angle, drops onto the shoulder of a SEAL named Petty Officer First Class Daniel Mercer. It penetrates the soft plate above his side trauma insert. He is the first American killed at EO 738. The rest of the line does not stop firing. Roughly 300 Spartans are still on their feet inside 50 meters. They reach the line. Hand-to-hand combat was never the question being tested. The question was whether the SEALs could prevent it. They could not entirely. About 200 Spartans hit the American position in the next 90 seconds. Each operator has a sidearm, a Glock 19 with 17 rounds, and a fighting knife. The close press lasts 4 minutes. SEALs fire suppressed pistols at point-blank range, then move. Spartans use the Xiphos in a churning bronze grind, hacking at any limb that comes inside their shield. 3 more operators die in this minute, all from spear thrusts that find gaps in side plates and necks. 2 die from a single Spartan who breaks through and reaches the casualty collection point before he is shot. By 0750, the last Spartan is dead. The American force has lost 17 operators. 183 walk off the field. The ground in front of the line is layered 3 deep in bronze and bodies for 200 meters. The body count is not the interesting number. The interesting number is the margin. Subtract 20 meters of Spartan momentum, and the math survives unchanged. Cut another 200 meters, and the SEALs lose perhaps 40 men instead of 17, and still win cleanly. But add 10 minutes to the Spartan march. Say if Leonidas had committed his reserve earlier or chosen open frontage from the start. And the picture flips. Hand-to-hand range is the only range at which a SEAL, with an empty rifle and a knife, is fighting 3 Spartans in armor with shields and spears. He does not win that fight. 200 men at contact range cannot kill 30,000. They never could. The 200 to 30,000 ratio only ever favored the SEALs because the killing happened at 800 meters. Inside 50 meters, the ratio reverses instantly and absolutely. There is one other variable the simulation does not test for. Leonidas, in this run, never sees a friendly soldier killed by something he cannot identify until the engagement is already an hour old. By then, 9,200 of his men are dead. If a single survivor had reached him in the first 10 minutes and described the firing line, he could have ordered the charge 2 kilometers earlier. The reserve, fresh and at speed, would have closed the gap in 7 minutes instead of 90. The math of finite ammunition meets the math of unbroken morale, and one of them wins. It is not the one with 200 men behind it. The experiment proved one thing. It proved that modern infantry kills at range. It did not prove anything about courage, training, or discipline. The Spartans had all 3 in greater measure than any army that ever lived, and it did not save them. They were not beaten by braver men. They were beaten by the distance. Every modern army is, in the end, a delivery system for finite numbers of bullets. The only question that matters in any fight is whether the bullets last longer than the men.